Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful, wonderful Tuesday. I know with an overcrowded podcast space, just how lucky we are that you are here. So thank you for making us one of your shows. We truly appreciate it. If you want to support the show more, you can join us at Patreon, which is super awesome. There's a lot of great perks. There's behind the scenes stuff. There are live shows. There is merch coming. There is access to me on the Patreon community chat room, which is really fun. If you want to do that, go to patreon.com/The Sackhoff Show. One last housekeeping thing. Send your comments and your questions and all that good stuff to thesackhoffshow@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. So thank you for doing that. And don't forget to give us 5 stars and hit that little reminder bell, because if you don't hit it, you don't get a reminder from YouTube that our episodes come out every Tuesday. So make sure to hit that alert. Our guest today, I am so excited. I have been a fan of him for so long, and he's actually here. So we are talking to Jimmi Simpson. If you don't know who Jimmi is, he is an extraordinary actor. He was in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Westworld, Psych, so many other things. And also his new animated show, The Haunted Hotel, which comes out September 19th on Netflix. I've seen it. It is very good. So make sure to check that out. Set your alerts for September 19th for that one. He plays a little 12-year-old demon. I mean, all 12-year-olds are demons, but he really plays one. I'd never met Jimmi before, so sitting down with him was really great. I've admired his work for so long. It was just really cool. It was really cool to not only continue to have that sort of deep love and appreciation for his work, but also as a human being. He's just really, really cool. And I love him more now. So I am just going to get out of your way. One last announcement. This Thursday and Friday, I'm going to be at Atlanta at Dragon Con. Only Thursday and Friday. So make sure to come out and see me. Next weekend, I'm going to be at Rose City Comic Con in Portland, where I live. So that's an easy one for me. But come on down, say hi. We're doing the live show there with guest Trisha Helfer. And yes, I am dragging Jeph to Portland for the first time. That's going to be awesome. He's going to eat so much food. Now I'm really going to get out of your way and let you get to know my new friend, who's an amazing actor, Jimmi Simpson, a little bit better. Hi.
Hi. Oh, there I am.
There you are. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. It's nice to see you. Thanks for having me on.
It's nice to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm fantastic.
Yeah. I just have to say, when you were coming on the show, I found myself reaching out to people that I know that have worked with you to sort of be like, tell me a bit about Jimmi. What can I expect? What are your thoughts? And Glenn Howerton, Tim Omenson, and Kurt Fuller, every single one of them, as soon as I mentioned your name, every single one of them went, fucking love that guy. I mean, literally almost verbatim.
They're nice fellas. They're nice fellas on the planet. You picked 3 good ones to ask.
Did I?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just such good guys.
Yeah. Well, you can't go wrong, right?
No. To see, I mean, Glenn is like a peer, but Tim is like kind of a mentor, and just like there's so many, and Kurt, I actually have looked up to Kurt for some time, and we actually, I was shooting something in Chicago, and then there's a psych gathering that I was just like, and James was like, come on, we're going to be there. It's a couple states away. Come over. And Kurt was there, and we actually haven't spent that much time together. And I went up to Maggie Lawson, and I was like, I love Kurt so much. Do you think he likes me? And she goes, Kurt loves you. He literally just said the same thing to me. So that finally came together.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny that you say that, because I have this conversation with people all the time. How you make or solidify adult friendships, like I feel like at times that I need to slide a note to someone and just be like, do you like me?
Yeah.
Check yes, check no. Just like, because like Glenn is a great example. I thought he hated me for like a year. I thought I annoyed the shit out of him for a good year. And he was like, no, man, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got his own path, but you're included. You are.
Yeah, I wish I'd known.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Is that something that you, when you first got into this industry, did you sort of like set out to always be professional and always be prepared and always be just like that? Discipline is something that is not always norm throughout an entire career. And it literally seems like from the time you started, from the people I talked to when you were just starting out to now, that has always been a through line for you, is that discipline and that you've always taken it incredibly seriously.
Wow. I wouldn't describe it that way, but
No?
let's unpack.
Yeah.
Because discipline, I'm from a time before stimulants and meds to adjust for ADHD. And so discipline has always been kind of like hard won for me, because I kind of missed the boat on that stuff. And I'm adaptive. And so I'm always, honestly, for instance, like this profession, I was way behind the eight ball. I was in college before I even conceived of doing it. And so honestly, my first professional acting experience was Williamstown Theater Festival up in Massachusetts. And it's where I met so many of my dear friends, because we were all scrappy. Charlie Day, David Hornsby, head writer of Sunny, Catherine Hahn, Ty Burrell, just like so many people, Logan Marshall Green. I could go on, and we all just kind of matriculated together, and we all had this feeling of like, okay, well, if you work hard and are around the plays, you might be able to do a little thing. And so that was just kind of all impregnated in us, because we were all either paying there or there for free as apprentices. And so that was just all of our first kind of introduction. It wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't hang out and wait and it'll happen. It wasn't about like anything glam. It was about just kind of being around and available and having a monologue or two ready and having all of this stuff. So I would say I'm fascinated that I'm still allowed to tell stories in this way. I think storytelling is what brought me here. I thought I was going to be an English teacher. But ultimately, that's my discipline, is like, wow, what a lovely opportunity I have. Either to, and initially it was a lot of like almost exclusively creepy, off-putting, weird dudes that I would play. And I was just always so grateful to be able to get into the skin and find out like what makes him creepy and what makes him human, what makes this creepy guy lovable. So I love that there's some kind of idea of discipline, because to me, it's just being present. It's just trying to be present, in those opportunities you're given.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm watching you is watch you when the camera's not on you, when the scene is technically, the audience is supposed to be focused on someone else. One of my favorite things is to watch you in those moments, because that's, to me, when your characters come to life, when you are still so in it, and I'm watching who that character is when people aren't watching, and it just fleshes a character out so much. And it takes I love that you're still so focused on who the character is between the lines. Did that come from theater and from when you kind of originally started where you were like, I'll take a monologue, I'll take anything, like in the beginning of your career where you were figuring out everything about the business or the characters, I guess, your craft?
I gotta tell you, I got chills that you were talking about this element because I just love being around people. I just love learning so much. I just love it so much. And so there's another apprenticeship I did at Flat Rock Playhouse in North Carolina. And again, it was for theater. And there's an actor, and I've looked him up because I really carry people with me for the long haul. His name was Terry. He was an older character actor, and I looked him up. He's in Dead Man Walking. He's one of the jurors. He's a small little part. But he was doing the real play at Flat Rock, and he took the time out to teach us little idiots. Hey, I'm the one guy who's done a little film here. I'm going to teach you guys 2 hours of film acting. And what that was he would pair off to a print eye. We'd have a scene, and he'd film us, and then we'd all watch it. We'd watch the two of them together. And I feel so sheepish to even say this. It's something that kind of like kept in my, it was mine. It's mine, my little compliment in my pocket. Compliments aren't like where I live, but this was kind of special because it made me pay attention. We were filming a little thing, just this little scene, and then we were watching it back, and he looked at me when the other man was talking. He looked at me on the screen, and he said to the other kids, he goes, right there, that's acting. It's listening. And I wasn't aware of what I was doing, but I now had something to pay attention to open up my toolbox a little bit more of this film craft, which is so different than theater to me.
Yeah.
And actually have a little orientation, I guess. And so I don't know. That's so cool that 25 years later, you're noticing a little element of my craft that I want to give Terry, his character actor, credit for at Flat Rock Playhouse. But yeah, I think it's about being present, and it's so easy for us to lose that, especially on film when there's so many people there and everything, and it's like this results-based thing, and money is on the line and all this stuff that has nothing to do with the story that you're telling. And it's so easy to slip into results-based performance because it's less to think about, and you have to do the job. So do the job. But our job is to find the time on the way to that destination to expand. And despite all that crap that's happening, to pay attention, because someone's going to do something different than they ever have, and someone's going to realize something, and then you can catch it. It's the best. It's the best part of it. But it's also something that I find really easy to kind of, just the situation, go, run, shoot. You have two minutes to get this before lunch, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is working against us from having those special little moments where we're just there, and it's not about achieving anything.
Mm-hmm. What was it about acting and living in other people's shoes that enticed you to leave literature, I guess?
Honestly, it was just a little scotch of belonging. Honestly, and it wasn't something that I had. I had avoided like the frats or what have you. But so I took this theater class as a lark, and this is kind of part of my genesis story of. I took a theater class because I wouldn't have to go, because it was kind of a stadium lecture thing. And halfway through the class, I audited it for just to make sure I wasn't totally failing or missing something essential. And the teacher, Karen Anselm, the professor, said to me, "I'm taking attendance, you're going to fail unless you ace the finale." And that was a performance. You need to do a performance. And I was really into singing. I loved singing for some. we had a singing household, my brother and my mother. And so I knew a couple musicals. So I knew weird ones. I knew Stephen Sondheim. I knew Assassins. And there's
I've never even heard of Assassins.
Assassins is kind of this glorious piece that he made where it brings together everyone who's ever tried or attempted or successfully assassinated a president together on this plane before there was like multiverses or anything. Stephen Sondheim was bringing together all these guys and women. And there's 2 drama scenes. There's 2 spoken scenes. And so I picked one. It was John Wilkes Booth convincing Lee Harvey Oswald to go ahead and pull the trigger in Dallas. And long story short, Karen came up to me afterwards and said, you should think about doing this. This is something that I think you would be really good at. And so it was kind of doing like a half and half with my father. He'd pay for some tuition. I'd pay for my house. My tuition was like $3,000 a year. So everything was like really affordable. Mm-hmm. So, do you think it'd throw things off if I added an acting major? He goes, go for it. See what happens. And again, it was Karen Anselm telling me she thought I'd be kind of good at a thing. And I don't think I'd really heard that before. So I said, well, let's try. Yeah.
So I love that you bring up the Assassins because I think it leads perfectly into something you said earlier about that you're drawn to the unconventional. You're drawn to the oddballs. They're, these characters that you often get hired to play that exist a little left of center, if not fully away from center, back around again to be in the middle. They're so, you know what I mean? Like, are those characters that you're drawn to, or do they find you?
I would say it's half and half. It's kind of like, I've always thought, I've guessed that maybe I look like I'm up to a little bit of no good. Like there's something about me that kind of just like looks a little bit like I might have an alternative plan. I might be running some kind of game. So I think that was kind of the initial like draw of like, okay, so we need an off-putting guy who's like kind of hyper articulate too. Sometimes they need them to be not just off-putting, but very clear-minded on why they're trying to get what they want. And yeah, I mean, I think you plant the garden at your feet, right? And so that's where it was happening, and that's where I put some love. Also, I didn't come in with a lot of expectations in this industry, so there was no like, I want to do that kind of guy, or I have Tom Cruise dreams or anything like that. So I'd say, if anything, it's a good question. When I initially was like, okay, Karen Anselm says I can maybe have a go at this. Who do I relate to in this like Hollywood thing? Like all I knew was movie stars. I'd never met an actor or an artist who sustained their life through that myself. And then another professor, Ross Geller, turned me on to Richard Burton and The Angry Young Man and his Hamlet that he did in New York City. And I just started realizing, oh my God, you can tell a story no matter who you are. And there's no kind of like matinee idol type like entry fee. And that made me kind of start understanding like the working man's desire to expand and tell story. And so it was like seeing how kind of Richard Burton did it. And that made me feel like, well, anything is playable. And like I said, just the gratitude of being handed a little weirdo part on My Name is Earl and having fun, just trying to have fun with this weird opportunity that I fell into that I never really expected. And I'm still there, luckily.
This episode is brought to you by Masterclass. I have been leaning into learning again because between acting, this podcast, and parenting, it is easy to feel like there is no time for me. And I started watching Masterclass in the mornings, just one lesson at a time. And it has actually changed the way that I approach my work and my day. Because let's be honest, as a parent, I'm terrified I'm going to screw up my kids. I mean, I know that I probably will, and probably not in the ways that I think that I will. But one of the things that I love right now is there is the science of parenting right now. And the first episode is called Your Burnout is Real. It talks about how we are all burned out and for good reason, because the expectations have never been higher. I mean, we are literally raising little tiny humans, and it is so easy to feel lost. One thing that always helps me are the amazing mentors. Like, I have learned so much from Amy Poehler with improv in daily life. And there is Mindy Kaling's class right now, Developing a Singular Voice, is wonderful. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. For as little as $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 classes taught by world-class actors, writers, leaders, chefs, more. I mean, honestly, there's not much that you could come up with that isn't on Masterclass. The lessons are bite-sized and easy to fit into even the busiest schedule. So I brought up Amy Poehler. For me, I loved the class on improv. It reminded me just how playful and how powerful play is and spontaneity in life. I mean, these are things that we can actually take into our parenting, right? Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/Katee. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/Katee. Masterclass.com/Katee. They're going to ask you where you heard. You tell them that the Sackhoff Show sent you, because if you want to support the show, you might as well learn something at the same time. Enjoy Masterclass. This episode is brought to you by Rugiet Ready. Okay, guys, let's be totally real here. I know you've heard of Viagra. We all have. Cialis? Yeah, maybe you've even tried them. But what if I told you there was a next-gen option that doesn't keep you waiting around for hours? Enter Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready isn't just another pill. It's like the upgrade pack. This prescription treatment not only boosts blood flow, it also helps amplify arousal in the brain. Translation, you're ready in 15 minutes on average, and the effects can last up to 36 hours. That's like 2 Marvel movies and a brunch. And here's the fun part. It's a 3-in-1 formula that dissolves under your tongue. No water, no waiting. There's over 150,000 men have already made the switch, and the reviews are wild. Plus, getting started is easy. Rugiet connects you online with a board-certified doctor, and if it's right for you, they ship straight to your door, so you can stay confident, present, and in control when the moment is right. Connect with a provider at rugiet.com/Sackhoff to see if Rugiet Ready prescription is right for you. You can use code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. That's rugiet.com/Sackhoff and use promo code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. Head to rugiet.com/Sackhoff. Use code Sackhoff to get 15% off today. Use that code to support the show. I know you want to support the show, so also, why not have some fun while you do it? Go try Rugiet Ready right now and tell them that we sent you. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. Is there ever a character that's come across your proverbial desk where you were like, I don't know if I can, that intimidates the shit out of me?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've had that specific thought, and I'm trying to think of what it was. I feel like it was a few years ago, because my career really began with mostly comedy. Mm-hmm. And it probably wasn't until like Westworld that I started being hired to not be funny on some level.
Yeah. Well, there was a swagger to that character. a sexiness to that character, if you will, if I might be so bold.
I love you.
That I think is that people may have in the audience, maybe in the people that were hiring, that allowed them to potentially see you in a different light. Because I know as a viewer, I did for the first time, where, or at least in the work that I'd seen you in, because I'd always known you as in comedy. And your performance in Westworld was very different that I'd seen before. And I think that it was very good. I mean, you always are, but it was really different.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was. I honestly felt. I wonder if you felt this way on Battlestar. It was just like, all of a sudden, I'm responsible to tell major story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had never been. My job was to go and be like, and so it was really a huge undertaking to me. That was like film acting 101 for me, because it was repeated, and it was those Westworld 18-hour days and all that stuff. And it really tests your abilities to the limit, because now you're exhausted. There's been no preparation. It's just trying to process story, because it's your job, and it has to be good. And so it's that kind of like just unpacking of yourself, and you give yourself over to the process. So yeah, it was such a new experience for me to be able to fall fully. Like that was Battlestar your first full, like I am a lead being leaned on constantly?
Yes. But the irony is I didn't know it.
Yeah, I see.
And that was the beauty in it. Was that because I was 23, 22 when I booked the role.
Wow.
I didn't realize that Starbuck was considered one of the leads of the show. I just didn't know. I was, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is Eddie and Mary's show. Okay. You know? And that allowed me to be fully free and not feel pressure. And to me, that's one of the brilliant things about you as an actor is you talk about like comedy and then genre work and drama work. You always feel like you belong there. And I think that's a testament to not only how good of an actor you are, but what in your mind, what ties, is there something that ties all of your characters together inside of you in your mind that is, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think it's an overused term right now, but it's all connected by my own empathy. It's all deeply, deeply, deeply connected to that. And it's, if anything, it's sometimes it's too connected to that. But that is my purview. That is where I'm looking from. And I'm looking for that broken kind of parent wound that we all have. I'm looking for that connective human tissue that no matter how outrageous the story is, because we want to make them so fun, and there's so much potential with storytelling. But I think it all comes down ultimately to the humanity of these characters. And even if you're playing a robot, that's what we're talking about, because even AI is coming all back down to their programmer and where it came from. And so it's that they're all just so human, and it makes me love them so deeply. I would say the hardest part of acting to me is when I cannot understand why a character is doing something evil.
Yes.
Can't figure it out, and they don't know why they have it in there, and they were trying to just turn the screw a little bit, and now it's on me to make a choice that it's that stuff that's just like, all right, we're stepping away, because often it's not like a planned removal from humanity. It's just an oversight of someone trying to write something cool. And so that's the really trickiest part, to have like a, I don't know, Ron Meyer or whoever is brilliant sculpting. What are you going to express? It's so great. It's so great.
What do you do in a situation like that? Because I've talked about that a little bit in the sense that, like, I started in the last little bit of my career, like, second guessing myself because I couldn't feel my characters in my belly anymore. Like it felt false to me. And then I instantaneously started spinning, which had never happened to me before. I'd always really, I don't want to say easily, but I was able to seamlessly figure out who a character was, and that sort of interpretation of them came naturally, and I just went. What do you do if you can't find that the reason why somebody does or who they are? What did you do? What do you do in that situation?
We all, you do everything you can. I've been in a couple situations, very small amount of situations, one or two, where going through all of the process of, okay, so I'll do my prep work. Okay, I can't figure this out. Talk to the writer. They can't quite articulate what it is, but it's in there. And now it is. And so it's really just kind of an abandonment. To me, it's like you got to find a way to kind of abandon your tether. And for me, it's like, do what you're told and make it feel good to you on some level. So yeah, that's my main thing, is this human empathy, to feel it across. If not, all right, so they don't know exactly what they're doing. I'm just going to live in that world. The 2 times I've done that, I've hated it. And I haven't liked what I've seen.
Yeah.
And so, so I haven't figured that one out yet, honestly. It's just... so
you don't see a way in hindsight to have done it differently?
There are, but that's for the next time that it happens. Okay. Like, it's the whole, is it an obstacle or an opportunity situation? Like, we are humans. And acting is asking quite a lot of you. It is asking you. I'm not saying it's labor, but it can be, but it's asking you to open yourself up so completely. And so at times when you're really, really tested, there are answers that you maybe could never have planned for. And so, I don't know. I would say ultimately, when it comes down to making a choice that you don't have any kind of backing for, that's not really acting for me. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I'm not getting it done. So for the next time, I've had a couple, like, okay, so that I made that an obstacle when it should have been an opportunity. Next time. But then the next time, you as a human will be going through all different things. And so you can't actually prep the same way. So it's really just about, to me, like, being open for failure, being open for not getting it right all the time, understanding that you're always learning, and give yourself a break.
Where did that ability to be so open and excessively vulnerable come from? Because that is something I try to talk about that all the time with people. Like, this is the hardest part about being an actor, because you're thrust into a crew with actors you've maybe never worked before, and you're instantaneously put in a place where you've got to trust them with your vulnerability. And it's at times terrifying. Were you always that readily accessible in that way, or is that, and do you struggle with that? Did you learn to do that? Tell me about it. I'd love to know where that came from.
I actually constantly look into this stuff. I'm obsessed with how the brain works. I'm obsessed with, I'm actually reading this book right now called A Brief History of Intelligence I'm not like, I love how things happen, like the Guns, Germs, and Steel or Homo Sapiens, all those books, or Sapiens, I think, that just kind of unpack why we are this way. And ultimately, it's just either you're born wide open or you're not. And I happen to have been born wide open, and it's not always an asset. It's not always an asset. So, I think as far as I can tell, like the human ability to kind of, open up and stay open is our natural state. I think that's where we're supposed to be. I think the world asks you to be guarded. I think often other people, confused people, demand you be guarded. And so it's such a good question. I was born open, and I bring it to this craft, but I do wonder often about like the assets to this, because the world is always coming at you, and to be wide open means you're going to take a lot of crap, and people might take advantage of you, and you're not going to be quite as quick as to sniff out when people are not open. So, it's always been the way I was. And it's so strange that I really thought I was just going to be about books. And so to turn it around and express it is actually that's the strange thing to me. I'm not put the spotlight on me so I can show you my feelings. I just have them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, my days were spent with my cat. I was a daydreamer. I think it's really lucky that I landed. It's really lucky that my father loved reading books, because then that was my portal to that. And then it was really lucky that my college professor, Karen Anselm, saw her students. But I would not have chosen this path in a million years. There's no part of my soul that would have said, you're going to Hollywood to be an actor. Literally no part of me. That makes sense. So I figure, I'm here. This is how I am. And I'm here to expose feeling. I'm here to expose the feeling that humans have. I think a lot of the time, I just want connection. And so storytelling is such a great way to get people to commune and to get together and to share often like kind of valuable thoughts that will help us and make us happier as humans.
Is that why you seem to always go back to theater ever so often? Is that connectivity of an audience?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's also, talking about like the results-based acting of film. And again, I'm not saying film is all results-based. I'm saying it can be. It can go that way because of all the setups. But to do a play, I did this play, Trevor, with Laurie Metcalf, who also constantly comes back to theater.
Is that the one where you played a monkey?
Sure did.
I have got to know more about this place.
Oh my God, it's the best. It was the best, and Laurie Metcalf is so amazing. But yeah, so you get a couple of months, and normally it's all show up, do it. You get a couple of months to explore this craft that has been commoditized. We show up on set. That's the amount of time. It's like that everything costs. With theater, you get to spend a couple months exploring these tools. No one is saying no. Everything is just risky. Fuck it. Let's try it. Because we'll rehearse tomorrow. So it allows you to see your own potential, I think, theater. It allows the actor to see their own potential because, film being a director's medium or an editing medium, theater is the actor's medium. It's the one where when it's the show, it's up to you. No one's keeping you safe. She'll figure it out. It's like thrilling and bracing.
I agree with, that resonates with me so much because what you talked about before, like with Westworld, when it was sort of like, here you go.
Yeah.
It's on you. There are certain things about being an actor that I feel like creatives were never meant to do. Like, I was never meant to come to set and be concerned from a managerial, the word's not coming out of my mouth the right way, but as a manager of not employees, but of personalities and moods and everyone's like psyche on set that day. I was never meant to come to work concerned about, is the light hitting me in such a way? Is this person blocking me? Is this, all of these things that, are we running over budget? Do they have the money for us to do this shot a second time? Like all of this stuff that should never be in actors on our minds when we're creating a character and going as deeply as we can and as open as we can and trying to convey these human emotions. And we're worried about, we've got 10 minutes to get this shot and we can't afford to go over and we have to start tomorrow at a certain time. So you get one take. Don't fuck up.
It's wild.
Right? It's that amount of pressure sometimes gets to me.
Same.
Yeah.
And it's tricky. And I think that's where I question sometimes that like availability that because there is a quality, there's a more manicured quality that's like, yeah, fuck it. That's, excuse my language, but like, yeah, let's like, that's what I'm here for. When it's like, no, I think I'm here for something a little bit more precious, a little bit more like, let's make sure, but that's literally what it is so often. And so you walk away from I walk away from those days thinking, I'm just no good. I just, always do I doubt my ability to have done what I'd hoped I could do, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, cause it's not like, I didn't do what you wanted me to do. It's like, I didn't have the opportunity to show what I could show.
Yes.
And to tell the story as I see it. And now it's it's like halfway done.
That's my biggest, I think those are the days that are the hardest for me, when I go home at the end of the night and I know I had more and better in me. And it just didn't work out that day. That's hard to sort of like that unrealized potential in a moment, because you're never going to be there again.
Exactly. And that's our little curse. That's our little weight to bear of, and it's, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Do you ever think about like another job, not another career you could have chosen, but what else you could do?
Oh my God. I think about this sometimes because I question that sliding doors of life. I question sometimes, like, if I got distracted and I missed where I was supposed to go, because sometimes I feel like I'm too affected, not by the industry, but I find sometimes I'm too empathetic of everything around me. And I don't want to go as far as like saying I'm an empath, but like, because But I do believe as actors, we have to be open to everything. And I feel the weight of the world at all times. And I feel as if there's something that I should be doing that has a larger impact on the world, or that can affect change more than just providing entertainment. And then I sit in those moments and go, well, just providing entertainment is actually a very pure form of helping people. So I don't know, though. I do find myself drawn to a place where that openness and that vulnerability would serve me at times better and not be so exploited.
Amen. Amen. That's so interesting. Because I mean, like, this is wonderful what you do, which this is not acting. This is communication. This is connection. This is informative. And honestly, I think I would be a barista. I want to interact. I don't want to sell booze at night. I want to, because I think I'd do a good job at making, when I hand that coffee, that maybe their day will be a little bit better, right?
You draw a heart on the cup. You remember their name.
Yes, yeah. It's good. That's the good stuff. You were just saying something that I just ADD'd out on. What were you talking about before? I said...
I do the ADD thing as well. So,
it was about your wondering if...
if I missed something, the sliding doors thing about a different career.
No, it was more about like it was when you're talking about feeling a little more exposed than is super safe and happy and healthy. And I think that's something that I can really relate to, but I can't remember why, because of D.
Well, maybe we'll get there. But I actually have a question about your ADD, because you brought it up earlier and I wanted to ask you then. And you talked about medication as it relates to that. And do you feel that had you been medicated earlier, that you would be a different person today, that those coping mechanisms for your ADHD actually allowed you to, or led you to the place where you're at in the career that you have?
I don't think so. I think it was, everything is as it should be, because, I like to experience everything. And so when I was diagnosed with this by a couple people, it took me a while to be like, well, what's the big deal? And I've tried all the things. And each time my psychiatrist would send me something, this is throughout years, so I'm saying one guy, but like, I would try it. I would write feedback. I would say, this is how I feel here. This is how I feel here. And I'm very invested, especially since it's what is this? It's a amphetamine, generally. Mostly they're amphetamines.
Yes.
And so I just want to know what I'm doing. And with all of my experience with it, I've had Adderall for a year, trial, all the different ones. I don't find that they are conducive to my whole holistic self. It might do a little something, but I really like how I ended up. And honestly, the dependency on it was just like, I've made it this far. So let me see if I could maintain. And I do. I think I do better with, and I've tried even the non-stimulant ones. So it's a tough condition. Honestly, it's like you just are not born to understand the natural mainstream priority of staying alive. It's really bizarre. Most homeless people have acute ADD. This is the result of the inability to balance a whole lot of stuff. So
yes,
to keep it to keep things, and especially with ADD, we are often very sensitive. So this gift allows me to have endless amounts of energy to tell story, to share empathy, and to understand. And it's also put me into one of the harshest, most cutthroat industries in the world, filled with people who are desperate for other things that is not storytelling and information. You know?
100%. I also find that it's funny that you brought up that you would be a barista, because caffeine is a natural stimulant, which is often used with people with undiagnosed ADD.
Hey, what are you talking about? There's no caffeine anyway. You don't need that stuff.
You don't need caffeine. I'm only on my 8th cup today. My husband says this to me all the time, because he's like, I can never be you, and I will never understand you. And this is where different people in a relationship are, have to learn how to deal with each other, because he goes, you go to work and you work a 16-hour day and you are surrounded by people and you are open and you are vulnerable and your brain is hyper aware all day long and you are memorizing, you are doing this and you're just all of it. And you come home and you want to talk to me. And he's like, I don't want to talk at the end of the day. He's like, I want to read a book or turn on a podcast and clean the house and not talk. And you come home and you are rapid fire talking about everything at such a fast pace that my brain is like, oh my God. And it's just normal for you. And he's like, and God, I love you, but I need you to know I don't get it at all. And it makes me really uncomfortable. And I was like, okay, I got it. Like, because I have so much energy at all times, even with 2 hours of sleep. I'm like, I will find that energy. It comes.
Same. Okay. So what is that? Why do we have that? It's not like it's like if it's a couple hours, I can still do everything. I can do it a couple days in a row. Yeah. I know it's not good for me, but I'll do it.
Yes. My therapist finally said to me, okay, here's the problem. Because I was like, I need brain scans. I'm having issues. I'm getting this, like my sensitivity and my migraines and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, okay, you're chronically exhausted. You need to sleep for 4 days. And I was like, that will never happen. I have 2 children. I am not sleeping for 4 days. And so I waited until I had this new job. And then I was like, oh, I can sleep those days. He's like, just let the alarm clock not go off those days. And so I had like 4 days in a row, and I woke up and all of my headaches were gone. All of my dizziness was gone. Everything was gone. And I was like, oh my God, I'm tired. But I don't feel tired. That I just am.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So, but were you really like, you really gave yourself those 4 days? I
did. I knew that I was going to be used very seldom for about a week at work, and that I would sort of be on call, but not really have a call time. And it was going to be very fluid for about a week. And so I knew that I had, if I prioritized going to bed at a normal time and I just like let myself sleep, I knew I could get 4 days, and I prioritized it. And man, did I sleep. It was crazy. I mean, so much so that like I felt like I was like in a coma trying to wake up from sleep one day. It was crazy.
Needed that.
Yeah, but I hate that too.
I know, but our body's just like, do it. I'm breaking you down. I'm comatosing you.
Yes. But so you have just endless energy as well?
I have endless capacity. It's like, it's help, I again, especially with no sleep, I don't know what that is. It's something that's part of my, like, I don't have anxiety. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
And so it's just always happening. And sometimes with work, I'm like, well, now it's on the line. I better be sleeping, which causes me not to sleep. I did I've had a couple tough, like 4-5 day zero sleep. Great. It's like check myself into a clinic. Like I need to figure out what that is. And one of them happened on, I was shooting this show called Person of Interest in New York City. And Jonah Nolan actually was, that was his show who later did Westworld. It's probably why I got the audition for Westworld. Yeah, I was on a 4-day bender, and a bender for me is zero sleep, not a drinker. But I had a great day of work actually on that 5th day because there was no Jimmy left. There was only enough space in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you start having to partition when you start losing sleep. You're like, okay, I have enough. I'm going to do it, but it's just about this now. And so, yeah, I had a pretty good Person of Interest episode, deprived of sleep. But generally, it feels like the result of the overworking thought machine.
The narrator. Yeah. I had that during Battlestar. I was doing a movie at the same time, and I was doing nights on the movie and days during Battlestar. And on day 4 of legitimately zero sleep, going from one job to the next, on day 4 was the scenes with Leoben where he captures me on New Caprica and she goes insane and like kills him with the chopsticks.
My God.
It was like,
my God.
like I was literally shaking because I was so tired and my body was breaking down. And it was like, that's great work.
Yep.
Because Katee was
on the
gone.
razor's edge.
She was gone. Yeah. I was like a shuffle ball change away from a straitjacket.
Amazing.
I want to talk about specifically like some work stuff, just because the McPoyles and Sonny are. My husband loves the show, and I have watched arguably a lot of the show because of him.
Okay.
And they are unsettling, but hilarious.
Absolutely.
How much input did you have in who that character ended up being?
You know, I don't want to speak for Charlie's still one of my dearest buddies, and I'm friends with Rob, sure, and but Charlie came to me. So Charlie and I lived together outside of after Massachusetts, Williamstown Theater Festival. We moved in on the Lower East Side, Origin Delancey, just near the Tenement Museum, and we would make videos because neither of us was getting arrested on film. We and this is just pre-YouTube, believe it or not. So there was nobody to show. So Charlie and I would make silly videos and watch them ourselves or show our friends in our little 4x4 little room. And that's what we did. And so Charlie, I initially kind of pegged him as like, okay, that's one of the funniest guys I'm going to know. And he just has this way. And so when we started making these videos, actually, Katee, he was just so naturally abundantly funny. You know, he would just have these big choices. And I started slotting in as the kind of I didn't know what to do. I was just like, that guy's ridiculously funny. So I'm going to play intense, and I'm going to just like listen, and I'm going to be the guy that's just like watching and paying attention. And that turned into a lot of these characters where I'm just kind of like slack, like looking at him, and he's big and explosive. And so he said to me, 8 years later, he goes, hey, you know, like that, you know, those creepy characters, you know, you want to do one of these guys? And I was like, sure. So I think Rob created the name. I think he knew someone named McPoyle. And then Charlie pushed me and Nate Mooney into it. Nate Mooney was also at Williamstown with us and is a dear friend. And so he was calling on us to do some creepy shit we've done before. But all of the story, all the bathrobes, all the unibrow, all that stuff, that's all, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We would actually have to, at one point, they went through different iterations. I think the first one was just like a little piece. And then we're like, McPoyles are really landing. Let's put each hair in individually. It was just wild. Just just wild. But again, that's just one of those situations where it's dear buddies that you just always around with. And so you get to set, then you do one as written, and then you mess around.
Yeah.
A lot of safety there.
There is. That's that thing, right? When you're surrounded by people that you know, that you trust, you have this, as a performer, I find that I have this beautiful ability to just slide into another character and try things, which is what acting is just trying different things and trying to be spontaneous in your preparation.
And that's what you're saying, your natural kind of motivation is like you want to try stuff.
I do. God, all the time. I do. That's where I'm best, is when I'm just like, I'm just gonna go. You stop me when I'm done. When you when you have what you think you need, you let me know.
I love that.
Yeah. It's the best. I'm not very good controlled.
Yeah. I like both. Weirdly. I like both. I like being able to just explode, but I also like being told what to do. Like specifically, like what I say sometimes is like, I can, to the writer or to the director, it's like, if you give me a field, I'll try to do some backflips. But if you put a jungle gym on there with your words, then I could flip all around. But also it's just like we were saying, results based. And that's why I asked you, I was like, trying stuff, because not everybody wants that, and not all shows want that, or voiceovers, or there's a lot of people trying to say, so.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times people come in with, sometimes when I'm too controlled, they've come in with this idea of who they want the character to be exactly. And then that is my goal, to fit into that straight line that they've painted already. Is that sort of two sides of the same coin, playing the character in Black Mirror? Walton, is that fun for you because you're playing two completely different sides of the same character?
That's funny. No, it's what's fun about that. There's so much fun about that show, but what's fun about that, what you're talking about, is the ability to play two men with the same mother wound, one who's learned to kind of heal it. Unwittingly, by force, one of them has been forced to look within and see how he affects people, and that it's not just all about him. So that's the really fun part. And in both episodes, there is this chance to play the grasping of a human with himself, questioning his own behavior, but as a different person, as an outsider. He is now no longer that person. It's not me. I didn't do that. But it is you. You are that person. And so, we all have to take some minute to come to terms with our own wounds.
Yeah. Is that, I'm so intrigued by actors and sort of how they get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And, what their process is. And you've mentioned that sort of like that mother wound a couple times. Is that where you start with a character?
I think it's honestly, I think it's kind of where I start with life. And it will come up, but when I'm trying to understand, I like to understand everything. And when I'm trying to understand whether it's a character or whether it's a friendship or whether it's a relationship or whatever it is, there's so much stuff about us that we didn't choose. And so, like, you wonder, like, for instance, on playing Soldier in a show I did called Hap and Leonard, where despicable in action. It's just brutalized Christina Hendricks. But it's a means to an end. And it's because you can sympathize when he's doing these horrible things because he's doing it for love, but like it's fucked up. But no, but the reason he's doing it for love, the reason he thinks he needs to do this for love is honest. There's a hole here. And so that's completely explainable to me. And the same thing, say, a friendship or just a new work relationship. And you're like, God, this person, it seems inconsolable or seems this or is so aggressive or so defensive. And it's just, and then you start to feel it's like, take it personally. It's like, it's a way to kind of give everybody their due, their break, you know? So it's something that I'm, you know, and I really like to think about stuff like plant medicine, like all, I want to know, I love it all. I really love it all. So it's weird because sometimes acting's not supposed to be quite that complicated. You know what I mean? You ever find that? And so, so I find myself, I have a self-loving, self-loathing relationship with how I am as an actor, because I want to know process too. You know, I asked Laurie Metcalf, like I said, I just want to learn from people who know more than me. And when we did that play about the chimp, the first thing I said to her is like, so tell me what your process is. She goes, what the fuck is process? You figure it out. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And we all think there's this right way to do things, to do life, to do whatever it is, couplehood, parenthood, acting, all of it. It's just all open to interpretation, and give yourself a break and try to have a little fun. And, you know, I wish I could live those words as much as I just said them, but that's what it is, you know?
Well, if that, I mean, that's the golden thing, right? If we could all practice at all times what we preach or what we've learned or what we know to be true, we would, I guess life would be a little less interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk about the haunted hotel because it is why you're here.
Yes. That old thing.
That little thing. So I did get a chance to watch it, and Abedin is I mean, he's like, I don't even know how to explain him. He is he's a demon locked in a 12-year-old body.
Yeah.
But also in like Sleepy Hollow times.
Yes. Well, see, his
in the 1700s.
That's when he took his current form. And so he's got a lovely little bob. But yeah, so he's a demon trapped in a haunted hotel that's run by a hilarious, loving, and like pratfalling family. And yeah, so he's the Alf to the family. He's that little thing that's commenting on shit and generally just kind of makes things a little bit more difficult, hopefully a little more funny, and then once in a blue might offer a little help. Yeah. Which is such a fun little element to play. And Matt Roller, it's such a beautiful show. I really am taken by the show. Yeah. The writing is gorgeous. It's everything you hope a cartoon about a haunted hotel would be. There's lore, there's interpretation of lore that you haven't quite thought of. Like, we all just are there. Like, talk to me about the mirrors and talk to me about why they stand and they can walk through this, but not through that. There's so much stuff that we all really care about that this show talks about in a way that's like, oh, it's so satisfying. Then you have Skylar and Eliza and Will and just everybody just knocking it out of the park. Yeah. Yeah. How
did it come your way?
I was looking after my my father lives in Arizona, and I look after him sometimes. And the audition came through, so I drove far away because I didn't want to interrupt him when he was sleeping, and I recorded it in my car, and that's how I got Haunted Hotel, and that was probably 2.5 years ago.
So I love that you auditioned for it, by the way. So did you then, what was on the page? They were like, okay, this is like a 12-year-old boy, but he's a demon, go? And you were like,
yeah.
Did you have the animation or anything to look at?
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I just had the idea, which I thought was so funny. So I did, I want to say at least two, maybe three different characters. And one of them was way more kind of, the things that we were like trying to look at was like, okay, so child, demon. Do we go child or do we go demon? Mm-hmm. I think our decision was like, it's neither, because the child is the presentation, but the demon is in there, and there's no way you're going to get through hundreds of years speaking through these vocal cords and you're not going to have some gravity, you know? And so, ultimately it became trying to really just play the frustration of being stuck in a situation that you see no value in. And so it's fun to play my most like petulant self of like, I don't want to, you know, and just to lean into that, because we all have that part in our humanity of like, I don't want to, this is annoying, this is beneath me, whatever it is. And so just to let that little flag fly. And then, you know, the animation just seems kind of perfect to me.
It's really great. It's really great. I loved when Abedin gets really frustrated that the other demon like doesn't remember him.
Yeah.
It's like, because we've all been there. Like, wait, we know each other, you know, like we were at that party that one time together. You don't remember me?
No, how dare you? How dare you? I'll let you eggs.
No, I absolutely love it. It's a very funny show. And I told my husband, I was like, you're going to love this show, because he's a Rick and Morty fan. Well, we both are. But he was like, I was like, you're going to like it. It's the humor is different. But it feels very, I don't know. It feels very, in the family.
Agreed. I think it's like, whereas, and Matt will say this himself, whereas like Rick and Morty went with the kind of sci-fi in general is kind of existential, right? And so Rick and Morty, that's where they're going every time. It's huge. Horror is really more about finding that ultimate safe place. It's about the fear until you get to that safe place. And that's what I love so much. And what I love about stories is when there's a little, you know, when I was younger, there's sitcoms where everything, and there is this lovely little quality where you'd walk away feeling like you learned a little life lesson, but it wasn't forced down your throat. And it was so sad, like whether it's Family Ties or whatever. And so that's where this thing lands with me is it's actually quite frightening sometimes, but it's mostly just funny. And then ultimately it's rewarding. I find it rewarding to watch these episodes.
Yeah. No, I really do. I love it. I was so happy to sit down, and I had it on a plane, and it was, I enjoyed the whole thing. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it gave me an excuse to talk to you, because I feel like we've sort of existed. We've got a few friends in common, and like, but we've never actually, I don't know if we've ever actually met.
We have not.
No,
we have not. And I'm so stoked that I get to talk to you. Yeah, your personality is just like I hoped it would be. And of course I've watched your podcast, and you're so charming, and you're so easy to listen to. So congratulations on like really finding such a special thing that you do really well.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that I would love this as much as I do. I mean, I knew that I liked talking to people, and that was the ultimate goal, was to sort of like have those like authentic connections again with people in the industry that I identified with in so many ways, and then also didn't know or did know. But I find that I'm learning so much about people and the great equalizers in humanity, and like everyone feels the same about so many things in life, and I find that reassuring. And so I don't know, we're finding our little audience, and I enjoy it, so it's good.
I do too. I honestly, just because, I mean, yes, I could see that you're really nice and super in touch with yourself and grounded and all that stuff. But I'm really nervous coming on here.
Were you really?
Yeah, just because you're, a bit of a legend, and so it's been nice to me. This was like a nice unfolding of, oh gosh, everybody is kind of the same.
Oh, I love that. It's funny, as right before we came on, I said to my producer, I said, I'm really nervous. And I said, so because funny. I'm so intimidated by people who I am just in awe of what they do. And I said this in the beginning, but your in-depth character work is just so fun to watch, because you can see it, and I can see that you're always present at all times. And it's, I was so intimidated, and Jeph comes back and he goes, "You're going to be fine. He seems like a really nice, normal guy." Hey everyone, welcome to the Hindsight. Thank you for sticking around. I'm still Katee, and here is my producer / co-host of the Hindsight, Jeph and I.
Hey.
Your backdrop's different.
Yeah, I'm at home today because the studio is being used.
Oh my God, my dog just farted. Oh my God, my eyes are watering.
Just a complete, utter derailment.
I don't like the attention being on anyone but me.
Yeah.
Sorry. So there's no room at the inn?
There's no room at the inn. Yeah. The studio's being used for another show, so I'm now at my house in my office, showing off my personal space to everybody on the internet.
Oh. Jimmy, how familiar are you with Jimmi Simpson?
I mean, fairly familiar. I kind of know him from Always Sunny, although I was never really a huge Always Sunny fan. Mm-hmm. But I know him more, I think, from Westworld was the big introduction to him. And then you guys didn't talk. Well, you did talk about it on the episode.
Black Mirror.
For some Black Mirror, yeah. For those of you, for a little behind the scenes here, we're really rushed this week. So we literally just recorded Jimmy we wrapped up with him about 10 minutes ago.
This is literally the only time I will ever be wearing the same clothing for the interview and the Hindsight. Yeah. He is, that Westworld turn for him. Mm-hmm. Number one, we talk about it in the sense that he was really the first time that he was like the lead. When I was doing research about him, I saw an article that literally was titled "Always the Bridesmaid, Never the Bride" about Jimmi Simpson, which I thought was, I hope you didn't take offense to the article when it came out, because I don't believe that that's indicative of his career. But I guess the connotation is immediately understood by whoever is reading it what his career was, which is that he was always a supporting actor until Westworld, and then another show subsequently after that as well. But when he showed up in Westworld, I think it was the first time that he sort of played that lead heartthrobby, like kind of love interest leaning character.
Well, I'd never seen him in anything else. Did you watch Psych?
No.
Yeah, either did I. I don't really know what his character was in that, but I think Westworld is definitely probably the role that brought him the most to prominence, because that show was a phenomenon when it was running. But
he's just an amazing actor. And when I was going back to sort of like research him again and rewatch some of his work that I'd seen, but I wanted to watch again. I said this in the interview, but it's so true. And it is so indicative of like just a phenomenal actor. Mm-hmm. When the camera is on two other people and the audience's focus is supposed to be on those two people, he is still in character.
Yeah.
Almost giving you these like more hysterical pearls than what's actually going on in front of you that you're supposed to be paying attention to. So he's just, especially at playing the McPoyle.
The
McPoyle. One of the McPoyles.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not familiar enough with Always Sunny to know exactly what you're talking about, but I believe you.
Yeah. It's really good. It's a sign of someone that like is just in it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you guys talked a lot about process on this. I mean, I did like, because we've talked about this and you said as much, talking about playing bad guys and knowing why they do what they do is very important, you know. Just the whole process of breaking down a character is very interesting, you know.
Yeah.
Especially the whole question of like doing it for the theater versus doing it for film and TV. Yeah. Such a different process.
Right. And then you've got Laurie Metcalf, who's a genius, who's just like, yeah, you fucking figure it out.
Well, I'm curious because like you guys did talk a little bit about like when you can't figure it out, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, and like I've talking to a few other actors that I know, one of the questions I think that a lot of actors get often, and I always find it funny, the answer, the question is, you know, what drew you to this role? Why did you do this role? And that's presupposing this world where you just have the pick of the litter of endless any role choice to do, you know? And, you know, I don't think she'll care if I call her out by name, but I used to work with Anna Faris, and she just said to me one time, I was like, well, why'd you do this role? She just goes, I needed a job.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like such the hard question to answer because you can't say that on a red carpet or in an interview.
Because everybody wants to believe in this romanticized version of what we do, which is the luxury of choice that everyone wants to, you know, think that when you're 22 years old, you have a choice in what jobs you're taking. And that is a very, very rarefied space.
Yeah.
If that truly existed. Yeah. Now, look, can you know, when I was 21 and I saw the Battlestar Galactica script and chose to fight for that instead of
NCIS?
NCIS. Thank you, Jeph. I chose to fight for Battlestar and test for that instead of NCIS because I wanted that so much. But had Battlestar not been there and NCIS had been there, I would have fought like hell for that one too because I needed a job.
Yeah.
Like and it made it very easy to choose the one that I wanted more when you've got two. But if you don't have any, you take what you can get.
But as an actor working on those for you, you've done it yourself with the Law and Order thing. Like sometimes it's a paycheck, sometimes it's I need my health insurance. And so
sometimes it's that's the life I want. I want to work 9 to 5. I want to, you know, have the freedom to know I'm going to be on a show for the next 7 years. I want that money. I want to be able to support my family. There are reasons to do shows like that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
It's good money.
You build a family, you stay in the same place, you're not constantly auditioning. Like there's a very clear reason why Mariska Hargitay had it fucking dialed in.
Well, I'm curious so you did that 1-day stint or 2-day stint on Law and Order, right? And when you do things like that, how much prep do you put into it versus like with what you did with Carrie?
So it's very, very different in the sense that like when you're a guest star on a show, like, and I say this every actor, you got 3 jobs.
Yeah.
You come in memorized, you get there on time, and you don't be an asshole.
Right.
Those are your jobs. Like those are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the basics of what your job is. Like if you just do that, most people want to work with you again.
Right. And you're not like doing like writing down an essay on your character's relationship to their parents.
Not at all. Not in that sense. Not for 2 scenes in Law and Order. I mean, what I do is I still do the back work, but it's very simple. It's very simple. It's the easiest solution is the right solution. Your first instinct is the right one, and I just go.
Do you think the writing supports that sort of approach to it because of the nature of a procedural thing?
I would imagine. Also that your memory is a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. The more you use it in a specific way, the easier it's going to get. So when you're on a show every single day, the memorization for your character, for those writers, becomes very easy for you. Now, if you take that during that exact same time and you go to a different show and the cadence of the writers is different, it's a different style of memorization. It takes a while to get used to it. But if you're in a show every day, I don't think you'd have to memorize it all. Like I would get to a point on Longmire where like I could look at a 4-page scene the night before for 30 minutes and it would be memorized.
Right. Because it feels like you know the character.
Because you know what your character would say next.
Right. Right. And that's just a good relationship between you and the writers and the creative team behind the show.
Absolutely. Now, there also is writing that doesn't flow for whatever reason that is really difficult to say. Yeah. And now in those situations like sci-fi, if you don't know what you're talking about and it's science jargon, you better pretend and give it an association to something that you understand. Right. Because that's the only way you can memorize.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Anywho, Jimmy's wonderful. Haunted Hotel is absolutely hysterical. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. Because are you a Rick and Morty fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think you'll like this animation style, and I think you'll like the writing because it's not as inappropriate as Rick and Morty in the humor, but it's pretty funny.
Real quick before we move on, I just did want to acknowledge you talked about this at the end, and I don't know if we'll keep this in or not, but you talked at the beginning about how you were nervous of being on this interview, and we talked a little bit about. You and I were just chatting before Jimmy showed up, and we talked about the imposter syndrome that you feel while doing these things. And then it was very sweet to see him acknowledge that he was nervous going into this, which is
he listens to the podcast.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's just a confirmation moment that I think is interesting, worth pointing out, because that imposter syndrome that everybody feels is... It's constantly being refuted in our lives with moments like that, you know? And like he even literally called you, he said, "You're a bit of a legend." And like, how could you get more direct, like, you know, of a contradiction to your imposter syndrome? However, I promise you, the next time we interview somebody, you're going to feel nervous and feel like you're all that stuff all over again.
We have 2 interviews tomorrow, and I'm terrified.
Yeah, you're terrified. But
I'm terrified.
I think just lots of people out there, especially people listening to this, not especially people, just everybody deals with imposter syndrome. And it's just interesting to see you, a bit of a legend, and Jimmy, someone who you highly respect, feeling it also. So,
well, yeah. Let's get into the Patreon section and keep the mail sack there.
All right.
I think we just made it. I made an executive decision.
Sure. I mean, listen, I can't argue with you. This is the Sackhoff show. This is not...
It's true. It's true.
You're going to be fired.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to say goodbye to everybody. I want to remind people about the Patreon because our live shows, which we have one next week, go directly to our patrons. So there are some fun things over there. So if you want to check it out, I highly suggest you do that. So I'm just going to remind you, it's patreon.com/The Sackhoff Show, and you can support this show. There's merch. There's a bunch of fun stuff. And the community that we're building over there is a really beautiful thing. And it's exactly what we all wanted it to be. And you can see people getting more comfortable over there and starting to share more about their lives. And I love it.
I had a whole string of dog pics go up
I know. I love it. So we are going to move into that section. We're going to say, see you next Tuesday. And that's what's up.